The following may contain language that is not suitable for all audiences. It's time for the Low Fact Podcast. Your hand-eye coordination truly sucks.
Wow, that was sad.
So, it's time once again. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, downloading, or however it is, or what it is that you guys do to listen to us. We truly appreciate it.
There you go, thanking people again. What the hell?
And, like, subscribe. Funny story. This week I saw that our subscription number went up on BitChute, and it just turned out to be Matt.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
So let's get on with it. Anything in the news that tickled your fancy?
Nah, they were just going on about. I can't believe I'm watching Fox News again. I stopped. I swore off it, but they were just going on about China, the Wuhan lab, and how there's all sorts of evidence that it came from the lab, or that it was, that it was an accident, basically. But anybody, any medical professional who comes out and suggests that is basically, ignored or attacked.
I always
by the media.
That was the reason why I thought that was the deal last year.
That's actually what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's still, the media is still basically supporting the narrative that it came from a wet market or whatever it was.
For whatever reason, but I don't know why that didn't hit me as something that seemed true at the time.
But I don't know why the media would be trying to protect China. I mean, I don't get it.
Oh, there's plenty of reasons.
Like what?
Well, I can think of one right now.
They're owned by China?
Well, money, yeah.
Money.
Gigantic market. I mean, that's why Hollywood keeps on incessantly trying to get in there.
Yeah, but even when they do get in there, they get a tiny piece of the pie.
Well, that's the funny thing. They try to get in there, even though they get abused by it. They're like some kind of weird crack whore.
They don't report box office in China.
There's a lot of things that doesn't come to light, and I'm just sitting there going, this is a country, this is a civilization that invented pretty much all the things that made Western civilization possible. And, this is also a civilization where laws just really don't matter.
That's just about who has the power?
Well, that's why in a lot of Asian cultures, your personal relationships are what matter. Because, as the adage goes, the law is far away.
So the idea of breaking into China without relationships is that's just a fucking...
Well, no, the idea that smart European man's going to go in there and cheat the Chinese, that's what's laughable. I mean, think of all the things that kind of made Western civilization possible in terms of commerce. Paper money, gunpowder, magnetic north compasses.
That came from China?
All of them.
Shit. I thought some of it came from the Arabs.
What? Paper money?
Well, mathematics, right?
Well, algebra.
So they didn't say algebra didn't come from China. That's one thing.
It may have. It's just algebra's named after the guy whose name all I can remember is Al-Jabbar.
Oh, okay.
Something Al-Jabbar or Al-Jabbar something.
That totally makes sense. I did not know that.
But that kind of hit me kind of funny about the news thing when the lab link theory. And
but it's fucking old news. That's the other thing about it, is it's like, okay, so all of a sudden Fox is reporting it, but it's been like kicking around in the blogosphere and on the internet and on YouTube for at least a year. I would say like a year and a half.
So that means there are plenty of other people that didn't buy the fact that somebody bit into the wrong pangolin and caught coronavirus.
But is it like, does it have to get enough traction with enough people in the quote non-news sources in order for the news to say, well, we need to start reporting this? Or
the corporate sources? Who knows? But
like, why is Fox reporting it all of a sudden?
It's not been sudden. I don't think.
It seems sudden because it's like wall to wall freaking coverage this week.
Well, that's because of Anthony Fauci's emails that it came out in a Freedom of Information Act release.
Yeah.
And so the right-leaning outlets are focusing on that stuff. The left-leaning outlets just ignoring it.
Yeah.
And saying he's a great dude.
He's really good at diverting stuff as well.
The guy has been in his job since the 80s.
Yeah.
He's been a top career bureaucrat since the 80s.
Because like someone was like, I think it was like a left-leaning media guy, but to his credit, he was like, what about the redacted stuff? And Anthony Fauci was like, oh, well, I can't really remember every email I write. He's like, there's like thousands of them, tens of thousands of them. And then anybody that like attacks him, he just sits there and say, this is like the right-wing kooks, right? With their conspiracy theories about the virus.
Their listeners pretty much believe what they want to believe, and anything that they can put in the pile of evidence for what they want to believe, they'll use, and what they don't want, they'll discard. Now, I'm not disparaging CNN viewers because Fox viewers do the same thing. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. That is a basic human trait, I believe, and a lot of the stuff that's been going on. I've just got on the bus 26 years too late in reading The Bell Curve by Herrnstein and Murray.
What's the book about? Well, you just started it, right?
Yeah, well, I'm almost finished. It's generally about intelligence.
Okay.
And them being academics, all they really say is the more intelligent you are, chances are you're going to have a better go at it.
Okay.
At life. I mean, that's just fact. I mean, that's just such...
So I don't even need to read the book now.
It's interesting. Parts are.
No, I just plan... my hope is that you can read the books and just tell me distill it down to 2 sentences, and then I'll be good.
What are you, the president? I'm
the president of Boomstick Central. Here where I live. I'm the president of my apartment.
Anyway, so that overarching theory is not really news, right? I mean, of course, if the smarter you are, the chances are you're going to have an easier time at life. Be more successful, of course. But the caveat to that is, just because you're smart, don't mean you're going to have an easier time at life.
Do they recognize that in the book?
Yeah, because they're academics. All they say is, this is all we can say. The smarter you are, the chances of you getting better jobs, better pay, better whatever, are higher.
Uh-huh. It's
everybody else that kind of reads into stuff and saying, oh, you're saying that, smart people will be happier, smart people will be richer, smart people will... Like, no. Not necessarily. Because there's a funny thing in life. There's a difference between the macro and the micro. And I don't know why that is.
I don't know either.
Do you even care?
No, I'm too busy eating cheddar cheese.
So why do the people in charge think that they can just kind of come out and say whatever? It's like, oh yeah, this junk that I was telling you about last year, it was a lie. Ha 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 ha.
But they don't come out and say that.
Oh, sure they do.
And laugh about it? I don't think so.
Okay, so
I think you're exaggerating.
The characterization is a bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah.
But essentially, what would you do, like, if you came up to me and said, hey, remember that thing you told me last year that I thought was really important? I changed my entire life and believed, went on this course of action? Yeah. Was that really true? And I say, no. And then you're just like unhappy or whatever and nothing happens, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's essentially, okay, so that is the situation that occurred. My editorializing of the situation is just that. Yeah, I lied. Ha ha ha. What are you going to do about it?
Coronavirus?
Everything. Dude, everything.
Everything. How come someone should hold their feet to the frickin' flames?
I think that the level of intelligence of the masses, the mean level of intelligence, prevents that from happening.
What about just... Do you think it's a lack of intelligence or just inertia and fear?
I submit that inertia and fear have a basis in intelligence.
Okay.
The more intelligent you are, the less you're going to want to take it up the butt, so to speak, when the man bends you over and brings over the green weenie.
And butt fucks you.
What is it called? Bohica.
The Bohica?
Yeah.
What is the Bohica?
It's an old military acronym for bend over, here it comes again.
Dude, I've never heard you use that expression.
That's because it's super old.
I love it.
That's like from the World War II, 60s
man,
type
I
thing.
think Bohica might be my new fucking favorite term.
You know, it's kind of like foobar, snafu.
I like foobar and snafu as well.
Snafu's my favorite.
What is snafu?
Situation normal, all fucked up.
I like foobar better.
I didn't really like it, and then when Saving Private Ryan came out and everybody started using it, I liked it even less.
Yeah. I didn't realize snafu was actually that's what it stood for.
It might
I thought
not be.
snafu was a real expression.
It is a real expression, but it might not be. I mean, I don't know.
But I didn't think it was an acronym.
Well, everything in the military is an acronym. That's why people love it so much.
Because I thought snafu was just a word for things being like complicated or
Messed up.
Yeah.
Situation normal, all fucked up.
Anyway, it's just boring, the China thing, because I'm just like, okay.
What else is new?
So no, if we find out that it did, and then that they fucking suppressed it, and that they tried to keep it from everybody, they being China.
Well, I heard recently that on Chinese state television, somebody was saying that if people want to keep digging onto that and saying that it came from China, China should be prepared to fight a nuclear war over it.
Wow.
Which leads me to think that maybe that is the case, because why would you be willing to fight a war over propaganda? And the fact that propaganda works, I don't know. Is it just low levels of intelligence running around? And that's another thing. I mean, people, you know, and this is just kind of in my head now because I'm reading that book. But your thing about how in New Zealand average is supposed to connote something that's bad.
It was pretty fucking average, mate.
Right. So that's supposed to be bad.
Yeah.
Well, on a bell curve, people of average intelligence is half the people.
Right. But I don't know why average is a bad term in New Zealand.
Well, it's one of those things where everybody, like the old Prairie Home Companion line, you know, where all the kids are above average.
No.
Well, that's from Prairie Home Companion. It's like the stories from Lake Wobegon, blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
Where all the men are something, all the women are something else, and all the kids are above average.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just, well, you can't. I mean, we live in a time where stupid, meaningless things are believed, and everyone believes that everybody's smart. And as I said before, for 80% of the people, at least 80% of the people, that is not true. Right?
But 80% of the people probably think that they are.
100% of the people think that they are above average. But that is false for 80% of them.
I love how you just pull these things out of your ass.
What do you mean?
Well, like 100% of people, like you've done some kind of a straw poll.
Yeah, a straw poll of myself, and I'm using myself as the everyman.
Right.
So if I think that I'm smart, I'm pretty sure everybody else will think that they're smart.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a way to, that is just a mechanism to survive. You can't go through life thinking that you're stupid.
Yeah, I guess people don't.
Well, you can, I suppose, but people do not go through life thinking that they're stupid or not special or, you know, average or what have you.
Well, I think that comes back to what we've talked about before. I mean, it's a bit of an aside, but it's the whole self-esteem thing.
And again, the powers that be that are trying to instill high self-esteem, high confidence into young children, thinking that will turn them into high achievers because of a correlation. It's a correlation, not a causation. And, a lot of policies go on to where people are operating on a it seems to me on a mistaken thought that the smart people or people that are competent people have high self-esteem is a correlation. It's not a causation. It's if it's a causation, it's the other way around.
Right.
You don't get self-esteem and then get, competence. You gain competence and then you get self-esteem, confidence.
Maybe they deliberately want kids to have an overblown sense of confidence so that they don't get anywhere.
That could be, but that would require a level of intelligence that I don't think you can give to the people in that group. Right. Everyone.
But you're not talking about government.
People in government or whatever, people that want to, your theory of, maybe the educators want kids to be super confident without having any competence to keep them from progressing or getting anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That to me requires a level of intelligence on the part of those people that would not apply to 80% of those people.
That's true.
I mean, are there smart people in government? Most definitely. Are all people in government smart? Most definitely not.
Yeah, but that's the same everywhere.
Exactly.
Like, that's across the fucking board. I mean, I always am like surprised because I usually have an idea in my head, like all the people at such and such a place or over here, because of the success or whatever of this thing, I'm like, oh, that place must be full of just the sharpest knives and just the most brilliant people.
Well, it probably is. It probably is full of those people.
It's not.
No, I'm saying it probably does have a lot of those people there.
Okay.
I'm not taking your statement of full to be literal, which is something that I think we should do a lot more. We can't take things literally all the time. Like the idea that a Harvard grad is super smart. Chances are, yeah. But if you really look into it, because Harvard sets aside spots for legacies and people that will increase the what's the word I'm looking for? Increase the reputation of Harvard, right?
Oh.
And then there are the spots that are left. Those are competitive spots. So if you have like an Asian kid, an Asian male more often than not, and this is not to downplay females, but it's just, if you have an Asian male that went to Harvard, that person's probably got super high test scores, super high GPA, just, and by all accounts is probably super smart. If that Asian kid wasn't like, Xi Jinping's nephew, because that person had to be competitive and had to beat out all these other people to get his spot,
including a bunch of other Asian.
Yeah. In Heather McDonald's book about the diversity delusion, which I think the philosophy of which even Clarence Thomas would agree with. Clarence Thomas is against affirmative action because he went to Yale Law School.
Mm-hmm.
When he got out, he had a hard time finding a job.
Wow.
Now, part of it's because of the inherent racism that was in the system back in America in the 70s or whatever it was that he graduated, right?
Yeah.
But by the government, by some outside force trying to increase the numbers of people of a certain group, the overwhelming opinion of people on the outside is that, oh, well, you just took somebody else's spot.
Right.
Because Clarence Thomas was saying, look, I went to Yale Law School, and if you're a white guy that went to Yale Law School, the first thought that comes to your mind is that guy must have been a super smart, must have been a super good student. him being a black guy is like they're sitting there thinking I took some white dude's spot that I didn't deserve.
When did affirmative action start? It was like the 70s?
I think it started, the idea of the 60s, and the implementation of it happened in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, just like the integration, school busing. When I was going to
It's a tough one for me, because I'm like, if somebody is like downtrodden as a race their whole lives and they haven't had the opportunity that another race has had, it's like, I can see the reason for it. I can see that you want to give them a leg up and give them a shot. But it's like...
Those are two different things, though. I mean, let's be precise. A leg up, an advantage? Do you mean advantage by a leg up?
A shot.
Okay, an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone would disagree with you in terms of, everyone should get an opportunity. But that opportunity, the measure of that opportunity should probably be the same as what they think. I've said this on an anecdote before, and on a previous podcast even, but way back in I guess it was the 90s maybe, when California was saying, okay, we're going to stop doing affirmative action type stuff and just everybody kind of go in, and a focus group of pretty much all Caucasians, I think, was asked, should there be other considerations for college admittance, or should it all be about grades and test scores? And to a person, this focus group was like, oh no, it should be solely based on merit, test scores and grades. To which the poser of the question was like, well, if you did that, then the University of California would be almost all Asian. And then the response was like, oh, no, other things should be taken into consideration.
Oh, shit. I thought that might be where it was going.
But I am a big proponent of meritocracy, of merit stuff. But we live in a society, and so we can't be all one thing. It can't all be nepotism, and it can't all be about merit.
But if you're going to give somebody an opportunity, then somebody else is going to miss out, though.
No, because... If there's a line and it says you have to meet this line, right?
Uh-huh.
In order to gain admittance.
Right.
Then, and you take everybody that is over that line and you kind of pick from there.
But what if that line is...
If that line is so high that people from that group don't get in?
Yeah, or what if it's biased? I mean, what if the test taking or the test process is biased towards a certain race?
Biased how?
I don't know. I mean, I think of kids that I went to school with, some of the Maori kids, like the lower socioeconomic kids that I used to hang out with, like, in my house, we always had books. I fucking was like reading from an early age, and I would always be amazed with some of my mates. I would go to their house and there was no fucking books. You know? Yeah,
but that's kind of like that's like the anecdote that one of our friends was talking about, how like when she was growing up, her parents read to her, and that was always encouraged, and you know, if you have parents that don't read to you, then you're not going to be able to read.
Right.
That was essentially her. That's not exactly what she said, but that was essentially her conclusion.
I'm not saying this about all Maori households in New Zealand.
Exactly. You know, I don't think we need to prevaricate stuff here.
Okay.
Right. I mean.
All right.
If we do, then that's a person who wants to have a fight.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to fight with people, but I am more inclined to have discussions. Someone makes a statement that you're like, hey, wait a second. And this is hard, right? It's hard because emotions get in the way. You know, you get angry, whatever. But to sit there and think that reading to your kids is some kind of magic formula, and it may be, right? It may be most kids need to be read to.
I think it is a bit of a magic formula, though.
Right? But I know of at least one person whose parents never read to him, and all through school, when he was being tested, he read 4 or 5 grade levels ahead.
Yeah. He might just be super intelligent, though.
Maybe, maybe not. But, you know, this whole, I mean, you know, to throw in racial bias into stuff, which I'm not saying doesn't exist in tests. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I
don't know the answer either.
Right. So we don't know the answer. But if there were truly some kind of racial bias in these tests, why do the children of Asian immigrants perform so highly?
I don't know.
Is it because Asian people and white people and European people are the same?
No.
I mean, right? Depending on
That's crazy, right?
Depending on who you ask and what program we're looking at, for all intents and purposes, Asian people are white people.
Which is weird.
Right. I mean, when I was getting ready to go to college, I didn't get to go to my preferred college. Oh well. Maybe I should have been a better football player, but then again, my high school didn't have a football team, so there you go. I was screwed. Asian kids performed on the SAT, on a 1,600-point SAT, over 1,400.
Yeah.
And that's a super high score.
I didn't know that.
And let's be for real on intelligence. Intelligence isn't what you know. Right? I'm a hotbed of useless trivia and general knowledge. That is not a marker of intelligence. That's just a marker of schooling, interest, whatever. Intelligence, to be measured, and the military can, all the intelligence, a good intelligence test is supposed to measure your intelligence. Like an intelligent person isn't someone who knows all the answers. An intelligent person is, you can give them a problem and they'll figure it out. The difference between, there might not be a difference between someone who can fix an engine that knows that has learned the steps to fix this engine this way, that way, whatever. But I'm really kind of butchering it, but intelligence is being able to take the information, take your life experience, take whatever you've been through, right? Mm-hmm. And adapt that to solving a certain problem. That is the measure of intelligence.
Oh shit.
Right? So the best way I can analogize to it is in the legal profession. So the really good contracts drafter isn't the one that can draft contracts because they've seen all these other contracts before, right? And like, okay, I need this new thing to be incorporated in here, and that person just goes through their mental file, mm-hmm. or the actual file of all the old contract templates that there are, and say, okay, this is the one.
Yeah.
Right. The level of intelligence is, you take that. This is a new thing that I want to add in, and without having all this other junk. It's like, okay, so this is like X, this is like Y, and kind of make one. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm still doing it incorrectly, and I really hope that people start getting mad and commenting, because number one, I know that people are listening and it make me feel good, but also because we can get to the answer. But intelligence isn't about knowing something. Intelligence is about being able to figure stuff out.
But I think that comes down to
the individual, yes. And, according to Herrnstein and Murray, intelligence is inheritable.
Really?
There is some level to it. So and their book that was written in the 90s was pretty much saying that, acceptance into college and acceptance in jobs and stuff like that, that's getting harder. The bar is getting higher and higher. And so at some point, you're going to get to the point where you're going to have this uber class that's never going to be able to, that might never have to talk with anybody else. They're just going to be this bubble of intelligent people. And they're going to marry within themselves and just have more intelligent kids and whatnot.
When I hear that, I'm like, that just sounds wrong.
Well, okay, why? Why does that sound wrong to you?
I don't know. It's just gut. It feels wrong to me.
Well, yeah, because
it's like the Nazi thing.
Well, okay, yeah, but if you think about it, the chances of that happening,
race.
There's no such thing as a superior race.
But that's what they're saying, isn't it?
No, what they're saying is that
superior people
of intelligence, mind you, that doesn't make you superior. It's just people of higher intelligence are going to be kind of cordoned off.
Well, those people they probably think they're.
Well, everybody thinks that, superior. but you have to look at the whole thing of society, right? Up until about the last 50 years, people were a little bit more rural. People were a little bit more connected in community. People pretty much stayed in their community, right?
Yeah.
So you could be a really smart person, but if you're staying in your community, the chances of you marrying another super smart person is pretty low because your community is made up of people of all stripes,
Right.
intelligence-wise,
Right.
right? But in the college example was, if colleges keep on selecting for intelligence, which they probably do, and then people go to these jobs, like, if you're a lawyer, you're probably a lawyer, a physician, accountant. Those people are probably pretty smart, right?
One would hope.
Well, it's supposed to be. So they're going to be working in places where they're around other smart people.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to pair off among those groups.
Right.
And then they're going to have kids. And they're probably also going to live in neighborhoods among those people.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's not that, okay, we need to identify this one group of people that is like, the best and just whatever. It doesn't work that way.
Okay. All right. Can I say okay, all right, enough time?
You can say whatever you want. I'm thinking it's time for some steak.
Okay.
So, thank you for listening.
All right. Okay. All right.